Yet another sentence. So we'll have some nice strats in it. A really nice middle fight between Tag Seton, who's still doing his pretty dominating build, which depends on his allies giving him power, but is very effective if they do. And he's going up against Character, really one of the old timers on Setons as well. So is Tag Seton. The Character has been a really great player on Setons, so he's gonna put up a pretty good fight. We got Rob versus Carlos in the top ocean. And here we have Ulk versus Powerhouse, and Ulk is known as one of the better naval players, and they're both going UEF, Ulk, and Powerhouse. And in air, we have VIP versus Tnuk, two of the best air players. So, again, this attack set and build and involves making a single factory and rushing up to the middle as fast as you can. See Character doing a slightly different build. He's also very aggressive. But besides the just the ACU, he's also sending a Mantis and a radar, as well as an Arty and an engineer. He's got a whole bunch of things, and he's using these to basically avoid the ACU. ACU is expected to go to these big mass chunks. Here at 240, Settons is basically in the middle. And it's nice placement for this radar and a tank, basically preventing any kind of NGs in case Tech Seton brought some NGs. And Character's own engineer now getting mass, but got too close to the ACU and got shot. However, he's got another engineer coming in. The Character going with many reclaimers. Tech Seton with just one. We see here at around 340, Power Towers is getting ready to take his island. Ulk's air was slightly too late. He was probably looking to get these T1 interceptors to get this transport, but he wasn't able to do this. It's interesting to see this island has still not been taken by Rob. He still hasn't attempted. And most likely Carlos, yep, he's just made his transport. He will put up a fight for this island. It will be interesting to see. So we see, even though Character built some of the earlier ground units, for the rest of the game he's basically just made engineers and taken his mass extractors. You see how quickly Daxeton got his base going. He's already got a whole bunch of we can see here T1 already coming in, many factories, and here we mostly have tanks from Character. So tanks a nice counter for this arty. And we see here things happening on both sides of the map. We see a drop from Ulk. He'll attempt to drop NGs into this area. And here's going to be a nice battle for the island. So pretty late drop for 5, almost 6 minutes from Rob, which is going to be scouted by a T1 interceptor, spotted for this bomber, and this bomber is going to take out these units trying to get this factory. And whatever isn't killed is going to be cleaned up by this force. So really well done by Carlos. We see here this drop was basically neutralized pretty quickly, although Power Towers does not have his T1 air in control at this point. It's completely controlled by Ulk, who is sending even more transports. Most likely not going to attempt to take this island because there's quite a bit of units here in Arty, which takes care of any drops pretty quickly. He is going to try to capitalize on this air domination though. Probably drop into this area. We see here really great bombing from Carlos. He's already got 9 kills in this T1 bomber and a drop. So here, even though Rob has made a whole bunch of T1 air, he hasn't been using it. Basically allowing this bomber to get 11 kills before it dies. That's 550 mass you've just wasted. And these tanks are causing a whole bunch of havoc, killing mexes and engineers in your base. So really inexcusable. Even though you make the right units, you still got to use them. And we see this drop being pretty effective. We got capturing of mexes by Ulk and trying to build a point defense. However, these mech marines are going to take care of this. Pretty quick units to take care of these NG drops. And now we see that Daxeton is pushing on Character, but has built some walls trying to prevent this larger force from Daxeton. And Daxeton is actually looks like getting either gun and engineering at this point. And yet another drop from Ulk coming in. He is beginning to lose some of his air superiority, and now that drop has been spotted and then neutralized, even though, well, it's still a fight for T1 air. Rob has finally moved his air over a place where it's been bombed. And we see a nice move from Taxet and getting his floating T1 Arty, trying to attack the base of Rob. It's a really poor naval presence from Rob at this point. See a nice fight, Cybern versus Seraphim here. This is 10 minutes of the game. Some T1 bombers coming in. We're going to run into a wall of T1 air. Not going to be effective. The character really trying the best he can do with what he has. But it's nice to see there's some tanks straight up ahead in front of all this Arty, which are fighting the tanks of character. Basically taking all the shots, and then this Arty just decimates everything past it. And he's trying to use his commander. He still has his commander fighting other units. Attack Seton is just sort of sitting back. This is the point where both back players are beginning. This is a pretty late ASF build. By around 11 minutes, both players begin making ASF. And it's interesting to see what Tnuk has decided to do. He's upgraded 6 T2 mass extractors, capped them with mass, and then stopped all production except air. So basically got an air factory with about 100 engineers on it, and his entire economy is going there. And he's basically not upgrading his economy at all, either in build power or mass. That's to contrast with VIP, who's investing in both his economy as well as his air. We see Ulk trying to help character out by bombing. This right team does have air control, and they're trying to use it effectively. And they're trying to bomb all this Arty to help character out. It's also interesting to see Taxeton's ACU is not in the battle directly, even though he has the gun upgrade as well as T2 engineering. He's giving character a little too much respect, which is probably a good idea. You see a whole bunch of wrecks here. However, character is able to use his ACU to fight this force off. You see he's keeping his T1 force behind his ACU, but he can't do that for long. And now we're going to see the first air battle of the game. See 15 ASF for Tnuk versus 13 for VIP. And they will attempt to go around each other, try to get behind the other player's ASF. It's a very even battle, however, in this one, Tnuk does have basically home field advantage, is that he's fighting over his own units, so it's much easier to spot things to kill when you have a complete line of sight. And it looks like VIP actually is getting the better for a while, but then Tnuk was able to get behind him too. So a very, very even fight. But there is some T2 flak that Seton has built to help his ally out. And at some point it looks like VIP basically gave up. And 4 ASF was left. Initially, Tnuk had 2 ASF advantage, but he won with 4 ASF remaining. So very good strike by Tnuk. He still has a whole bunch of... actually, now he's upgraded these to T2. So I gotta take that back. But still much less invested in his economy than what VIP has done. We're now at almost getting into 14 minutes of the game. Yeah, we can see character doing the dance. He's basically trying to avoid all this T1 Arty, and you can do that as long as you keep changing directions, but if you walk in one direction too long, they will begin hitting you. And you can see that he did make that mistake at one point, lost quite a bit of health. 54 kills for his ACU. Now we see basically total air, well, still a fight remaining, but pretty big air domination from Tnuk, who's just going to patrol over the VIP's factory, preventing any new airplanes, using his basically number advantage. You can see a VIP basically losing the game right there. He does have quite a few T3 mass extractors, something that Tnuk is not made at all. And we see now characters almost dead. It's 57 kills, 400 health left. and a big T1 force basically going past his base. It's pretty cool to see that his ACU is the last unit to be killed. So basically, nice teamwork from basically this whole left team, getting their mid player to have much more power than character, and is able to use that advantage to push through. Olk is obviously not happy. He is now getting hit from the back. He's trying to concentrate on Navy, but then there's a force coming in, killing all your stuff. It's not very fun. And another half of the tech sentence force coming in on Rob's base, but he's going to counter it with some T2 PD. This is a nice naval battle here, which looks like Rob will lose, but close numbers. And now VIP throws in the towel. This basically means game over at this point. And we see a nice attempt at a drop. If VIP hadn't quit, he would have really enjoyed these three transports full of units. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this.